don't know if you guys can hear me or not. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. I've got a microphone connected, so I'm hoping that'll help you be able to hear what I'm saying. Can you guys hear me or not? I don't see any thumbs up on the video, so I'm guessing you guys can't hear me. Alright, you can hear me. So let's talk about some other qualifying endorsements and instructions on negotiable instruments. Given for a patent right, done in good faith, with good conscience, for good reason, while reserving rights, titles, and interest, dividends and derivatives of the originally issued security. You have a revisionary interest in said securities. So let's just do the example of a car note real quick. You do a promissory note. The promissory note doesn't mature for 5 years. We're trying to foreclose on the performance of that note. Here's an idea. Why not give the trustee the instructions to use the original security to set off the purported debt and balance the ledger? Zero balance the account utilizing the original security and sending all interest and annuities from the security, the original security, to the beneficiary when the account has been zero balanced. Real simple. You can reserve special drawing rights on your original issued security. Nobody's ever told you that, I'll bet you. Reserving special drawing rights, preserving or reserving special drawing rights from the original issued security as the grantor and or beneficiary or entitlement holder. So another one that got me for a while was entitlement holder. Mr. Anonymous said, Derek, beneficiary is great and all. Statutorily speaking, the beneficiary carries a tax liability and burden. However, on the private side, the beneficiary doesn't carry any tax liability. As an entitlement holder, you can give direction to the trustee. What do I mean by direction? Let's use the proper verbiage. The proper verbiage for that would be a fiduciary assignment. You as an entitlement holder with reversionary interest, special drawing rights off your letter of credit, promissory note, original issued security, can give an assignment to the trustee holding the original security instrument, or who once held the original security instrument, to use the original security to set off, offset, or discharge, zero balance the ledger, the accounting, for the alleged purported loan. When we don't give assignments, ladies and gentlemen, these people are able to take the security, they claim it as abandoned, they file a UCC1 on it, collateralize it, and they keep it for themselves. It's what a lawyer's doing in a court during a court case. Nobody's come forward as the beneficiary, and the attorney has a duty to protect the trust for the beneficiary's interest, who is yet to be named, who is yet to come forward and make their claim. So they come in by proxy as the beneficiary, charged with the duty of storing those credits on account in a trust. And then they underwrite that trust with a bond and take that bond and monetize it so the trustees can get paid. That's what they're doing with it. And then they're not paying the capital gains taxes on top of it, which constitutes and is, in fact, tax evasion. I like tax evasion. The more I study taxes, the more I realize tax evasion is the one thing that any agency or principal corporation is not immune from. When you contact the IRS about the courts, asking the IRS whether or not these courts are in fact government, they will come back and tell you that they are not tax exempt, which means they're in fact not government. They're private, ad hoc corporations, for profit, extorting people their life source energy through swindles and schemes against the American people to unjustly enrich themselves, all while evading paying taxes themselves. It's absolutely egregious. The judge is the trustee, and people are going, well, Derek, how do you know it's a trust? Let me put it to you as simple as I can. The preamble of the original organic constitution clearly outlines that government was instituted amongst men for men's benefit, which stands to reason that government can't do anything that I myself could not do. Alright? So their power is not greater than mine. So if they have the power to create credits on account on a whim, so do I. If the Federal Reserve, ladies and gentlemen, is not federal, it's not government, they're private, and privately they can create their own credits on account, their own notes that they issue, then so can I. So can you. Really simple. We've got the paper proof of agency corporation. Whose account is it? Well, that account you're merely the beneficiary of. You see, because after 1933, they pledged our life source energy and possessions and assets so they could do business internationally at the behest and on the behalf of the American people. Government was instituted amongst men to protect our assets and our interest, and they had to be instituted in order to engage in international commerce. See, before, all 50 states, union member states, were separate and individual in their own capacity, and thus the United States couldn't do any business without a commercial charter. Reorganization Act 1871 is a commercial charter. The definition of constitutor is to roll debt over from one entity to another, because there's a law in banking that every 70 years the debt doubles. So every 70 years the debt must be paid off. And when it's not paid off, it's a Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and they had to roll over the debt. They're now liquidating the United States because they could only roll over the debt so many times. So the banking crisis of, was it 1907 or 1908? Nears the 2008 collapse. It's identical in every way, shape, and form. The economists all agree. Mr. Anonymous agrees with that assessment. And then what happened after 2008 was, of course, 1908 was 1929. In 1929, we had the banking collapse, the complete collapse, which Bernie, what the hell is that goofy bastard's name? The smug bastard that came on national television on C-SPAN saying, he's the chairman of the Federal Reserve Board. Can't think of his name. Needless to say, Ben Bernanke, I think his name is. With a smug smirk on his face, he announces not only to the American people, but to the entire world, the Federal Reserve, the IMF, created the catastrophe in 1929. And he said, but you can rest assured, we'll never do it again. My ass. That's all they do. They continue to perpetuate atrocities to manifest more credits on account by waging war against the American people and furthermore people around the world by leveraging their assets. Okay? Your letter of credit. Anybody can create one. Don't believe me? Bond yourself out of jail on a personal reconnaissance bond. It's really quite simple. If a signature can get you out of jail on a $10,000 PR bond, ladies and gentlemen, you just created new currency in the economy, and you need to reserve your special drawing rights to those instruments. They're negotiable instruments. They're being negotiated because you didn't qualify your endorsement on it. You didn't give any instructions as to what needs to be done. People say, well, Derek, the clerk of the court, she goes, I just find it really funny that all of a sudden you want to assess me for taxes. Well, I have a duty to make sure the United States Treasury isn't being cheated. Well, I know I'm doing it right. Well, you may or may not. I'm not the one to judge that. That's between you and the IRS. But I will tell you this. They're one agency that is no fun to deal with. So good luck to you. You don't want to provide the full accounting. You don't want to show me the accounts payable and accounts receivable. You don't want to show me all the penal bonds and checks and what their values were so I can assess the taxes of the monetary gain you got from my blank banker's endorsement on those negotiable instruments. I'm going to assess the instruments at $100 million on a 1099-A. I'm going to do a W-4 stating I don't want the Custer County District Court to pay me $100 million for my goods and services rendered, and I'll let you deal with the IRS. You don't want to do your job? You want to act like I'm fucking stupid and deranged and delusional? Good luck to you. Have fun, because the IRS is going to come down and audit your books. Why? Because they have 13% interest in the $100 million in taxes. And you can bet your sweet ass they're going to take the time to go look at that. They want to know what's going on over here. Then you turn around and contact the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission, the OIG, the Office of Inspector General. Then you get a hold of the Federal Reserve Board and let them know about the securities that are being negotiated in your good name, that the accounting hasn't been done. There's new credit on the account, and I believe securities fraud is afoot. Then you're going to get a hold of the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. I always call it the Future Trade Commission because they deal in futures. But the Federal Trade Commission, OIG, Inspector General, and you know, let them know what's going on in this purported government business, which really isn't government, because when you do the 3949A, the 4506A, the 13909, and the 211 form, you will quickly find that they're not a government tax-exempt industry or agency. They are for-profit, private business organization. Whether they're a 501c3 or a 508c1a, I have no idea. Matters not to me. The point is that there are securities being negotiated with annuities and special drawing rights, and these people are whisking away what rightfully belongs to you. Period. Who else can you contact? We covered the IRS. You can also contact the FBI, the Federal Banking Inspectors. I know they say the Federal Bureau of Investigation, but the reason the FBI was created was to investigate the court systems and to keep the court systems in line. So really, they're the Federal Banking Inspectors, right? On behalf of the IMF. You're going to have to do all this in writing. I've spent the last 30 days on the phone with these half-wits. You're not going to get anywhere on the phone. You're not going to get anywhere with emails. You're going to have to send this paperwork in. And everybody says, well, what happens when you do the 1099-A and the W-4 form? Well, involuntary servitude shall not be had. Purportedly, I was summoned, which we all know that's bullshit. A summons is merely an invitation. However, I don't work for free. So they should have negotiated the terms and the conditions of the contract prior to inviting me to their bullshit meeting, because I'm an expensive motherfucker. So when the IRS comes back and says, well, Derek, what's going on? You know what? I can also include a letter of credit for $100 million. I can also include an international bill of exchange for $100 million and put it on special deposit with Custer County Court. Let them fucking deny that they got a $100 million international bill of exchange. I can't wait to see that bullshit. Let them deny that they didn't get a letter of credit for $100 million, right? And an offering of tender payment made, ladies and gentlemen, and refused liberates the alleged debtor. I say alleged debtor because it's always presumed and assumed in the Article 1, Section 8 courts that you're a debtor when in reality you're the creditor. Okay, you may be the undisclosed third-party beneficiary, but you're also the creditor. They have no credit. They're fucking insolvent. All banks are insolvent. That means all courts are insolvent. There are no judges after 1871. They're all administrators. What are they administering? They're administering trusts. Trusts that have either been, and this is one of their greatest little feats that I can see. One of the few places you actually see a constructive trust is in a courtroom. That's where constructive trust, for the most part, are manifested into existence. Okay? And you have resulting trusts as well. But anyway, back to negotiable instruments. It's imperative that you understand the terms special drawing rights. You're going to have special drawing rights on the dividends, derivatives, debentures, annuities, and futures generated from that note being monetized and put on the International Stock Exchange or the New York Stock Exchange. And if you don't give them those instructions, you don't let them know that you're an interested party as an entitlement holder / beneficiary, and they are, under the Power of Appointment Act, your securities intermediary, trustees, and custodians responsible for zero balancing the account and issuing a letter of satisfaction, right? So you can assess the taxes. Taxes are not paid in the conventional method that most people believe taxes are paid. They're paid with 1099-As, they're canceled with 1099-Cs, and your recoupment is done on a W-4 form. And then, of course, you have a responsibility to do the 1040-V, all right, and the 1040 forms. C-bot. Not sure what you mean, Russell. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. I hope you guys are doing your research and your due diligence. It's time to, I don't even want to call them tyrants anymore. They're derelict in their duty, but only because the fact that we didn't express the trust. Express the trust, and then there's no more plausible deniability. No more at all, because that which is expressed removes that which is implied. And then I ask you, can you express the trust? Most certainly can. You're holding securities. That's something of value. I got nothing of value in return. That manifests a trust. I'm the intended beneficiary. I may even be the grantor of the trust, means the fact that I'm the only one that brought anything of fucking value. How's that grab you there, Shotsky? Yeah. So anyway, love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. I'm in the middle of traveling around. There's a lot of merit in what Christopher Hauser is talking about, but what Christopher Hauser is not talking about is the importance of the W-4 for doing your recoupment. The recoupment is based upon the fact that involuntary servitude shall not be had, although you can volunteer if you like, but you have a duty to report so you can get your recoupment. What credits on account you manifested into existence with a bill of exchange, letter of credit, international bill of exchange, promissory note. So with that said, I'll let you guys go. Hope this helps you in your studies, and we'll talk to you really soon.